Tenses and aspects. In this lesson, we will delve into the complexities of the English tense, its aspects, and also sequence of tenses. What is tense? Tense is the form a verb takes in order to show that an action is past or present. So in English, we have just two tenses because the English verb will only change form to show that it is past or present and nothing else. For example, go shows present and its past form is went. So we have seen that go has changed its form to show the past tense. Also, talk is in the present and talked is the past tense of talk. This means that the English verb can change from present to past. And in the last one, eat is in the present whilst ate is in the past. Therefore, the verb eat, which was in the present tense, has changed its form to show the past tense. That is the meaning of tense in English. The form a verb takes in order to show that an action is past or present. So we have present tense and then past tense. You may have seen in some textbooks that we have a third type of tense, which is future tense. It is instructive to note that in English, future is not a tense. Either the tense is present or the tense is past. Let us see why future is not considered as a tense. The verb go is in the present form. However, to show the future time, we don't change the form of the verb. We just add a modal verb to it. Therefore, the verb itself does not change to show the future time. So, we can't call future a tense. We'll talk. We see that talk has not changed its form to talk about the future time. We just added a modal auxiliary verb. Therefore, future is not considered as tense. We'll eat. Eat is in the present form. The verb eat didn't change its form to show the future time. We just added a modal auxiliary to it. Therefore, in English, we conclude that we have only two tenses because verbs can change their form to either present tense or past tense and not future tense. We will appropriately term it as future time. Let us talk about the two main tenses that we have, the simple present tense and the simple past tense. What is the difference between the simple present tense and the simple past tense? If you want to construct a sentence using the simple present tense, then you have to use either the base form of the verb or the S form of the verb. For example, I go or he goes. So the verb form for simple present is either the bare or the base form and the S form. When do we use the simple present? We use it to express general truths, habitual actions, or future events. Have you seen that we can even use the simple present tense to talk about future time? Let us have these examples. He writes letters to his grandmother every week. Why is it simple present? Look at the form of the verb that we have here. It is the S form. And what did we say about simple present? You either need the S form of the verb or the bare form of the verb depending on your subject. Therefore, he writes letters to his grandmother every week is an example of simple present. It is something that goes on regularly. 2. The train arrives at the station at 7 p.m. This is not a past activity. This is a future event. The train will be arriving at the station at 7 p.m. and we have used the simple present to express future time. So we used the S form of the verb since our subject was singular. The train arrives at the station at 7 p.m. 3. Birds fly in the sky. We used the bare form of the verb because we had a plural subject. She enjoys spicy food. He does not write letters to his grandmother often. Does the train arrive on time every day? All these are examples of the simple present. We either use the bare form of the verb or the S form. But take note, as seen in number 5, the simple present can also be rewritten as a negative sentence. He does not write letters to his grandmother often. In its positive sentence, we will say he writes letters to his grandmother often. So, simple present can be negative. It can even be an interrogative sentence. For example, does the train arrive on time every day? That is simple present because we are still using the S form of the verb plus the be form of the verb. So remember that in simple present, we can have its negative forms and its interrogative forms as well. Now that we've seen how to use the simple present tense, what about the simple past tense? What form of the verb should we use? We will use the simple past form of the verb in the simple past tense. For example, we will use the simple past form of go, which is went. We will use the simple past form of do, did. Simple past form of eat, ate. Simple past form of make, made. When these verbs occur in the sentence, then we have a simple past tense. And what do we use the simple past tense to express? We use it to, first of all, talk about completed actions in the past, and also to talk about past habits, something that a person liked doing in the past time. For example, she visited Paris last year. This is a simple past tense because we used the simple past form of the verb. In the second one, he always walked to school when he was a child. This is simple past tense because we used the simple past form of the verb and we are expressing a past habit, what he usually did in the past time. 3. They entered the room and sat down. This is simple past. It is the simple past form of the verb. What about she did not like the food at the party? This is also simple past because we used the simple past form of the verb. He used to complete his homework late at night. This is simple past, used to. It is normally used in the simple past tense to talk about past habits. Therefore, we have a simple past tense. In the last one, simple past tense can also be interrogative sentences. For example, did they attend the meeting yesterday? So this is simple past tense because we used the simple past form of the verb do. It is instructive to note that just as we can have negative and interrogative forms of simple present, we can also have negative and interrogative forms of simple past. For example, she visited Paris last year. This is a positive sentence. We can say she didn't visit Paris last year. Negative form. It is still simple past. Did she visit Paris last year? It is still simple past. So, simple past tense can have negative forms and also interrogative forms as well. These are the two main tenses in English, the simple present tense and the simple past tense. Now let us talk about the simple future time. How do we also express the simple future time? We won't call it a tense. I hope you know why. Which form of the verb should be used in the simple future time? We will use the modal auxiliary verbs will or shall, and then the base form of the verb. So this normally refers to an activity that is yet to take place. For example, we shall play the match. Simple future because we have shall and the base form of the verb. They will go to the market. This is simple future. We have will and the base form of the verb. It can be negative. We can say she won't go to the market. We have will not and then go as our base form of the verb, simple future. And shall we play the game? This is simple future. We have shall and the base form of the verb, although we have used it in a question form. So that is the simple future time. Now that we know simple present and simple past, let us move on to talk about aspects in English. Let's remind ourselves that the form of the verb that tells us when actions occur is what we call tense, and we have present tense or past tense. What about aspect? Aspect is the manner in which the verbal action is expressed. Remember, when we are talking about tenses and aspects, our main focus is on verbs. The various forms or manner in which the verbal action is expressed is what we call the aspect. We are not talking about adverbs here, so don't think about adverbs of manner. We are talking about the manner in which verbs are expressed. Are we seeing the action as finished? For instance, she has finished the work. Over here, we see that the action has just been completed. Has finished is an aspect because it is telling us the manner in which the present tense is realized. Also, are we seeing the action as still happening? For example, she is finishing the work. Here, we have used an aspect to talk about the tense in terms of the manner in which the verbal action is expressed. So over here, we are showing a continuous action. Just as we have present tense and past tense, under aspects, we identify two aspects in English. We have the progressive aspects. This expresses ongoing actions, actions that are in progress, or actions that are happening over a period of time. For example, she is singing. This is present progressive. She was singing. This is past progressive or past continuous. So we have the progressive aspect. What is the next type of aspect in English? It is the perfective aspect. This shows that an action has been completed or has relevance to another point in time. For example, she has done the job. She had done the job. This is what we call the perfective aspect. When we combine the progressive aspect, what we have is the perfective progressive aspect or perfect continuous aspect. We are going to take these aspects one after the other and see how they are used in English. Under present tense, we will look at the present progressive or the present continuous, present perfect or the present perfect progressive. And under past tense, we will look at the past progressive, past perfect and the past perfect progressive. Let us start with the progressive aspect. Whenever an action is progressive, it means that it is continuous. So, in the progressive aspect, you are always going to have your main verb in an ing form. So, let us see how to construct sentences in present continuous or present progressive. What you will need is your present form of the be verb, which is either is, are, or am, and then the ing form of your verb. What do we use the present progressive to express? Ongoing activities, habits, or future events. For example, she is reading a book in the library. Present progressive or present continuous. This is because we have is and then the ing form of the verb. The action is ongoing. Therefore, it is present progressive. Let us look at these sentences as well. He is always forgetting his keys. What makes it present progressive? We have he is forgetting his keys. Is forgetting. Present continuous or present progressive. Always is an adverb of frequency. It can even appear at the end of the sentence. He is forgetting his keys always. 3. They are flying to New York tomorrow evening. This is a future event and we have used the present continuous to express future events. Are flying. He is constantly leaving his clothes on the floor. This has become a habit and we used the present continuous to express this habit. He is leaving. I am meeting my friends for dinner later. This has not occurred. It is a future event and we have used the present continuous or the present progressive. Am meeting. The next one. The children are playing soccer in the park right now. What makes it present continuous? Are playing. Ongoing action. So take note that whenever you have a verb phrase which consists of two verbs or more, the first verb is the one that shows the tense. So over here we have is, are, is, are, they are all present, and then the presence of ing makes it present continuous or present progressive. If the present progressive aspect is used to express ongoing activities in the present time, what about past progressive? What form of the verb is used? We will use the past form of the be verb, unlike the present progressive, where we use the present form. We will use the past form of the be verb, which is the was or were, and then the ing form of our main verb. This is also used to express ongoing activities in the past time, not in the present, or activities that were going on concurrently or at the same time in the past. So the key word here is ongoing. So this expresses ongoing actions, but it is not in the present time, it is in the past time. For example, she was reading a book when I came. This was an ongoing activity in the past time, past continuous or past progressive. They were playing soccer. This is also past progressive. I was cooking dinner while he was playing, past progressive. He was sleeping when I called, past progressive. We were walking to the park, past progressive. The dog was barking loudly, past progressive. So the past progressive aspect shows ongoing activities in the past time, and we use was or were and the ing. But for the present progressive, we use is, are or am, and then ing. So she is reading, present progressive. She was reading, past progressive. Now what about future progressive? We express future progressive when we use will or shall plus be and then the ing form of the main verb. For example, I will be going to school, future progressive. Let us have these examples. She will be working tomorrow. It is something that is expected to be going on in the future time. So she will be. Look at the structure. Will plus be and then ing. Future progressive. They will be playing soccer, future progressive. I will be reading tonight, future progressive. He will be sleeping at 10 p.m. We will be traveling next week. Will you be joining us later? You can make it negative sentences as well. You can say, she will not be working tomorrow. It is still future progressive. This is the progressive aspect. It shows that actions are ongoing or are in progress. We have the present progressive, past progressive, and the future progressive. Let us move on to the next aspect, which is the perfective aspect. Here we are talking about present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect. How is the verb used to express these aspects? Let's start with present perfect. Here you will need your has or have and then the past participle of the verb. For example, I have gone home. He has read the book. In what context do we use the present perfect? First, we use it to talk about events that occurred just before the present time, and also past activities that continue to the present time. Let's have these examples. 1. I have finished my homework. Look at the form of the verb that was used. It was has or have and then the past participle of the main verb. That makes it present perfect. And this means that the activity that took place just happened. So you can use the present perfect to talk about activities that occurred just before the present time. For example, I have finished my homework. She has traveled to Italy. Has plus the past participle. They have never seen snow before. Have plus past participle. He has worked here since 2019. Has plus past participle. We have eaten at the restaurant before. Have plus past participle. The child has already made us proud. Has and then past participle. So that is the present perfect. You will use has or have and then the past participle. Try to construct sentences on your own using the present perfect. Let us talk about the past perfect. There is only one change that is going to occur in the structure of the verb. That is, we will use the past form of has or have, which is had. Then we write the past participle of the main verb, and it will give us the past perfect aspect. We use it to talk about activities that had occurred before another activity occurred in the past time. For example, she had left before we arrived. Past perfect. This is because we used the past tense of have and then the past participle of leave. Therefore, we have had and past participle. Had left. Past perfect. If we had written has left, then we will get present perfect. They had finished dinner by 8 p.m. Had finished. Past perfect. I had never seen such a beautiful sunset. Had seen. Past perfect. He had already gone to bed when I called. Had gone. Past perfect. This talks about an activity that had occurred before another activity occurred. So when you are determining the aspect, don't look at the form of the verb in the subordinate clause. Look at the form of the verb in the main clause. Had gone. Past perfect. We had lived in that city for 10 years before moving. So had lived. Past perfect. The train had departed by the time they reached the station. Had departed. Past perfect. What about the future perfect? Here we are going to use will or shall and then have and our past participle form of the verb. Sometimes we bring been and then the past participle form of the verb. When do we use future perfect? We use it to talk about activities that are assumed will have occurred in the future and whose effect will have been seen at the time of speaking. For example, she will have graduated by next year. Future perfect. They will have finished dinner by 8 p.m. Future perfect. I will have completed the project by tomorrow. Future perfect. He will have left before you get there. Here we are assuming that an activity will have occurred. So it is the future perfect. We will have traveled to 3 countries by the end of summer. Will have traveled. Future perfect. The train will have departed by the time we reach the station. Will have departed. Future perfect. It is impossible to master all these aspects in just one video. This means that after each aspect discussed, try to write down your own examples of that particular aspect in order to master the verb forms that are used. Let us move on to the next aspect, which is the perfective progressive aspect or the perfect continuous aspect. We are going to talk about present perfect progressive, past perfect progressive, or future perfect progressive. Remember that if we say progressive, it is the same as continuous. So we are talking about present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, and future perfect continuous. Let us start with the present perfect progressive. This is used to express an activity that started in the past, continued into the present time, and it is even likely to continue into the future time. So what is the verb form that is used? Here is the structure. You will need has or have depending on your subject, and then been, and then the ing form of the verb. Remember that whenever you have more than one verb in a sentence, the first one is the one that shows tense. Therefore, has or have makes this present because has or have will be in the present tense. I have been reading for an hour. Since we have progressive, expect that our main verb will be in ing. So, I have been reading. It means that the action started in the past and it continued to the present time, and it will even continue to the future time. It is possible that you are still reading and you haven't stopped. So, I have been reading for an hour is present perfect progressive. This is the present component. Then we have the perfective component and then the progressive component. So, present perfect progressive. Let us move on. She has been practicing piano all morning. So here we have the present tense has, and then perfective component and the progressive component. Has been practicing, present perfect continuous. The third one, they have been working on the project since Monday. It means that they started working on the project in the past time and it has continued to the present time. They may even continue to work on the project in the future time. So they have been working on the project is present perfect continuous. He has been waiting for you. Present perfect continuous. Has been waiting for you. We have been watching this movie for 30 minutes. Present perfect continuous. Try to write down your own sentences in the present perfect continuous to master this aspect. Let us move on to past perfect continuous. Can you tell the structure of the verb? We have to change only this to show the past time. So has or have will change to what? To had. And then we will maintain our been and then our ing. When do we use the past perfect progressive aspect? It is used to discuss an activity which started in the past ahead of another activity and continued for some time. These examples will help us understand what we are saying. In the first sentence, she had been reading for an hour when I arrived. This activity had been going on and it continued for some time before another activity occurred. Past perfect continuous. We used had plus been and then the ing form of the main verb. Number 2. They had been waiting for the bus for 30 minutes. Had been waiting. Past perfect continuous. Had plus been and then ing form of the verb. It means that this activity started in the past and continued to some point in the past time. Past perfect continuous. I had been studying all night before the exam. He had been playing video games when I called. We had been walking for hours before we found the park. All these are examples of sentences in the past perfect continuous. Try to write down your own sentences in past perfect continuous or past perfect progressive and master how to identify sentences that are in the past perfect progressive. Now the last one under the perfect progressive aspect is the future perfect progressive. What verb form is used in the future perfect progressive? You will need will or shall to tell that the action is future, and then you will use have plus been, then your ing form of the verb. So future perfect continuous. When do we use this? We use it to talk about activities that are assumed will have occurred in the future and will have continued for some time and its effect will have been seen at the time of speaking. These examples will help us to understand what we are saying. Example number 1. By next month, I will have been living here for 2 years. So the person here is telling us the activity that he assumes will have occurred in the future time. Will have been living here, and then it will continue for some time in the future. He will continue living there in some time in the future. 2. She will have been working on the project for 5 hours by lunchtime. Will have been working. Future perfect continuous. By 2025, they will have been traveling around the world for a year. Future perfect continuous. We will have been waiting for an hour by the time the meeting starts. Future perfect continuous. He will have been studying all day by the time his friends arrive. Future perfect continuous. Now, try to write down your own sentences under future perfect progressive. This concludes the lesson on tenses and aspects. Let us look at the sequence of tenses in English. What do we mean by sequence of tenses? Here, it refers to the agreement between tenses in different parts of a sentence, particularly when there is a main clause and a subordinate clause. So before we talk about sequence of tenses, then there must be a main clause and a subordinate clause, so that we will have two verbs, and those two verbs must agree in terms of tense. That is what we mean by sequence of tenses. The tense in the main clause must agree with the tense in the subordinate clause. That's what we mean. So let's first talk about sequence of tenses in complex sentences. Rule number 1 is that when the main clause in the complex sentence is past tense, then the dependent clause must also be in the past. For example, Manuela washed the clothes because they were dirty. Why did we choose were? This is because Manuela performed an action which was in the past time, washed. Therefore, the verb form in the subordinate clause should also be in the past tense. Manuela washed the clothes because the clothes were dirty. So it will be wrong to say that Manuela washed the clothes because they are dirty. It means that there is no agreement of tenses between the main clause and the subordinate clause. Let us have another example. She pretended to be kind when she saw the visitors. This is correct. Why? Because the tense in the main clause, which is past, has reflected in the subordinate clause, which is also past. So she pretended to be kind when she saw the visitors. It will be wrong to say that she pretended to be kind when she sees the visitors. Pretended is in the simple past, but sees is in the simple present. Wrong tense sequence. That is the first rule governing the sequence of tenses in complex sentences. What if the tense in the main clause is simple present or present tense? What will be the tense in the subordinate clause? The rule says that when the main clause is in the present tense, the dependent clause can be in any tense depending on the meaning that we want to express. For example, I am still outside. This is simple present. Now look at the form of the verb that we used in the subordinate clause. Because I wasn't given permission. So this is in the simple past tense. It means that when I got to the entrance, I wasn't given permission, and because of that, I am still outside. So since the main clause contained a verb in the present, we are allowed to express ourselves however we want to in the subordinate clause. So here we used a simple past verb. What about I am still outside because I am waiting for my friend? The verb form here is simple present, and we used the present tense over here. That is the present continuous. I am still outside because I will leave very soon. Here we have simple present in the main clause and then future time in the subordinate clause. This means that the reason why I am standing outside is I will not take long. I will be leaving soon. We were able to use the simple future because the verb in the main clause is in the simple present. So when the verb is in the simple present, the dependent clause can take any verb form. But when the main clause is in the past, then you have to use a past verb for the subordinate clause. This is the tense sequence in complex sentences. Let us look at the tense sequence in reported speech. When we say reported speech, it has two main parts. The first part is reporting clause, and the next part will be the reported statement. Louis said that he had seen the cave. Louis said is the reporting clause. The verb here is past. That he had seen the cave is what Louis said. So this is the reported statement. Have you seen the verb form? What is the tense sequence in reported speech? Let us have these rules. Rule number 1. When the verb in the reporting clause is present, for example, if we had used Louis says instead of Louis said. When the verb in the reporting clause is present, the verb in the reported statement remains present, or we won't change it. In this column, we have direct speech and we have its reported version. He tells me I go to the hospital. if you are reporting it, since the verb in the reporting clause is in the simple present, the verb in the statement will remain present. For example, he tells me that he goes to the hospital, not he tells me that he went to the hospital. This is because tells is in the simple present. Therefore, the verb form in the reported statement should also be what? The simple present form. She declares that she has become a doctor. Declares is in the present tense, so has become is also in the present tense. This is the present perfect aspect. The professor asks whether I will buy the book. Here we have the simple present. Therefore, we didn't change the verb form in the reported statement. It remained in the future simple. It remained in the future simple. My mother assures me we are traveling soon. Since this is in the simple present, the verb form in the reported statement should remain in the present tense. My mother assures me that we are traveling soon. So we didn't change it. This is the first rule regarding the sequence of tenses in reported speech. What do you think will be the answer for this? He tells me that he visits his parents often, or he tells me that he visited his parents often. What is the right response? It is visits. This is because the verb form in the reporting clause is simple present. Therefore, we must use the present form of the verb in the reported statement. That is the first rule. The second rule, when the verb in the reporting clause is past, then the verb in the reported statement should also be in the past. For example, she told me that she was going to the meeting, not she told me that she is going to the meeting. This is because the verb in the reporting clause is in the simple past form. Therefore, the verb in the reported statement should also be in the past tense. I believed that they had already left when I arrived. He asked if I knew, not if I know, where the keys were. This is because we use the past form in the reporting clause. They wondered why I hadn't finished the project yet. She explained that they were working on the new proposal. The only time you will use a present form in the reported statement when you have the past form in the reporting clause is when you are talking about general truths, something that remains unchanged. For example, he said that the sun is in the sky. This is a universal truth and it will remain unchanged. That is the only exception. Aside this, whenever we use the past form in the reporting clause, we should use the past form in the reported statement. Try your hands on these questions. The answers will be given in the comment section. Let us talk about tense sequence in conditional clauses. What is a conditional clause or a conditional sentence? It is a sentence that expresses a condition and a result. For example, if it rains, I will sleep soundly. So this is the condition that must occur before the result happens. If it rains, I will sleep soundly. Condition, result. This is also a complex sentence. So what form of the verb should be chosen when the verb in the conditional clause is present? What if the verb in the conditional clause is past? What verb are we going to use for the results? Let us delve straight into it. The first type of conditional sentences is the zero conditional. This is usually used to talk about general truths or scientific facts. The form of the verb in the if clause is normally in the simple present. For example, if you heat water to 100 degrees, if it rains, if you add, if I drink, if people exercise. Here we are talking about general truths and scientific facts. Therefore, if the verb form in the conditional clause, the if clause, is in the simple present, then we should use the simple present form in the main clause. For example, if you heat water to 100 degrees Celsius, it boils. If it rains, the grass gets wet. If you add sugar to tea, it becomes sweet. If I drink coffee late at night, I can't sleep. If people exercise, they feel better. So here we are talking about truths or facts. Therefore, the verb in the conditional clause, which is the if clause, was simple present. So we would use the simple present form of the verb in the main clause. Take note, this is the zero conditional. Let us look at the next type of conditional statements. That is the first conditional or type 1. This describes possible situations or real situations in the future. The verb form in the if clause is going to be if and then the simple present. For example, if it rains, if you study, if we leave, if I see, if they arrive. So if and the simple present. If you have that, then the verb form that should occur in the main clause should be either can, will, or shall, and then the base form of the verb. For example, if it rains, I will stay home. If you study hard, you shall pass the exam. If we leave now, we will catch the train. If I see him, I will tell him about the meeting. If they arrive early, they can help us set up. So over here, we have the verb form in the simple present. And since we are expressing a possible situation that can occur, then we will use will, shall, or can, and then the verb form of our main verbs. Take note, this is conditional sentence type 1. This is the zero conditional sentence, where the simple present remains simple present, scientific facts or truths. This is first conditional, possible situations, simple present, will, shall, or can, and the base form of the verb. Let us talk about the type 2, which is unlikely or hypothetical situations in present or future. Here, the verb form is going to be in simple past for the if clause. For example, if I won the lottery, simple past. If she were taller, simple past. If they lived in Paris, simple past. If I had more free time, simple past. If he knew the answer, simple past. So if you have this form of the verb, that is the simple past form, in the if clause, then you are not going to use will, can, or shall. You are going to use would or could, and then the base form of the verb. For example, if I won the lottery, I would travel the world. If she were taller, she would play basketball. If I had more free time, I would learn a new language. If he knew the answer, he would tell you. So take note of this. When it is simple present in the if clause, then we use would or could and then the base form of the verb. What about the third conditional? That is a hypothetical situation in the past. That is the conditional sentence type 3. Over here, you are going to have your conditional clause containing past perfect aspect. For example, if I had studied harder, if they had left, if I had known, if we had brought, if she had asked. So these are past perfect. If you have that, then you are going to use would or could and then have and the past participle form of the main verb. For example, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. If they had left earlier, they would have caught the flight. If I had known about the meeting, I would have attended. If we had brought an umbrella, we would have not gotten wet. If she had asked for help, I would have helped her. So this is the type 3. Past perfect will take could have or would have and then the past participle form of the main verb. This is the sequence of tenses in conditional statements. Pause the video and answer these questions. The answers will be provided in the comment section.